Welcome to the Accomplish More podcast, created specifically for the small business owner who doesn't think small. I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. This show is where you'll learn practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your small business where you can leverage your time and to accomplish more. Happy New Year and welcome to episode number 41 of the Accomplish More podcast. It's been quite a few weeks since I've recorded an episode, and so much has happened since then. In today's episode, I wanted to explain why I was laying low for a while and broke off communication. Nothing bad happened or anything like that. In fact, some marvelous things were unfolding. My husband Robert and I had a spectacular 6-week workcation. We took an overlanding trip exploring many forest roads of North Carolina and Tennessee. We left in October and didn't return until right before Thanksgiving. Oh boy, did we experience some soggy and chilly days. But none of the challenges that we experienced put either Robert or me in a bad mood. When we returned, we jumped into the holiday activities. I really and truly enjoyed the holidays this year. The time I spent with my daughter and her new husband, my parents, my husband's parents, and all our other friends and family was so delightful. I'm glad that all of our get-togethers were very low-key. We mainly visited and ate quite a bit of yummy food. Not too excessive, just excessive enough. You'd think that with all that activity, like the travel and family time, that would be the reason I stopped doing the podcast for a while. Truthfully, that is part of it, but it's not the main reason. The underlying reason was I felt like I drifted off course. I wasn't going in the direction I wanted to in my business. What I did know is that Scrivener Solutions had become a virtual assistant company that specializes in content marketing. That's fantastic. I love content marketing. I strive to learn more about it. I immerse myself in studying various aspects of it so that I and my team can do a better job for our clients. Now, although consistency is super important, it's a super important component of content marketing, the actual content is even more important. Of course, that's a no-brainer. You don't want to be producing content just for the sake of producing content. The weekly podcast for me was just getting harder and harder to produce, mainly because I was lost in my direction. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted to say. I was more worried about what I should say. I'd sit down at my computer to work up a few notes. I'd stare at that blank page. I'd write a bit and then feel like I was wasting so much time. My mind would drift to worrying about all the other stuff I needed to do. So, for the past several weeks, I've been in limbo, stuck between worried about how the lack of consistency would affect my marketing, and to be totally honest, figuring out what my direction is. I was really questioning why I was in business to begin with. I decided to simply lay low, regroup, and concentrate on client work and figure things out. Coincidentally, some of my clients were having the same struggle at the very same time. They needed to know their why for being in business. As we were talking and working on their projects, our conversations revealed to me that each one of them were embarking on new things, stepping up their game, so to speak, and taking their business to the next level. They were in a state of fog, for a lack of a better term. They knew in their heart the direction they wanted, but they didn't know exactly how to get there. Their self-confidence was a little shaky because they were stepping into new territory. They have been running their businesses a certain way for quite some time, and now it was time to scale and grow. Sometimes it was a lack of confidence to charge a higher rate. They were afraid that they'd lose business or offending someone. Sometimes it was a lack of confidence for charging for things that they had already did as favors for folks. Some were just tired. Tired of doing everything. Tired of marketing and feeling like they had to convince people to buy from them. Tired of spending so much time on things they really don't like to do. After all, most of my clients are solopreneurs and wear many hats. When you're tired and overwhelmed, you begin to wonder why you're in business to begin with. That's what some of my clients were going through, and that's what I was going through too. Wouldn't it be so much easier to have a regular day job? That's what I thought to myself. You know exactly when to clock in and clock out. You just follow directions and do what you're told. Not as many decisions to make. Follow the company policy. No worrying about all the stuff that you have to do to run your own business. Go back to work for a corporation. It didn't take me too long to feel nauseous about the very idea of it. Even though in the fleeting thought it seemed like a good idea, all the challenges and uncertainty of owning my own business isn't that bad when I think about how going back to my old life would just stifle me. The underlying reason why I started my business was that I wanted to earn a living helping people. I wanted to earn that living where I didn't want to feel like I had to start over just because I wanted to move. You see, Robert and I love to travel. We don't want to wait until we are retired to start exploring the way we want to. We want to do it now. We don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know what our future holds. Well, nobody does. So why wait to live the travel lifestyle we want? Why say someday we'll get around to traveling? Why can't our someday be right now? That's why Robert and I created Scrivener Solutions to begin with, to help people in their businesses so that we aren't geographically tied to one area. We can live and work from virtually anywhere. So why, after 5 years in business, was I losing my way? Being overwhelmed and tired will make anyone question why you're doing what you're doing. You begin to question what is truly important. It's time to reevaluate things. As I was talking with my clients and friends who were struggling with their why of being in business at the same time I was, I recognized that they were simply unsure of themselves as they ventured into the next level of their businesses. They have big things happening to them, and they were just nervous of failure, maybe, but I think that there was also an element of nervousness of success. Every time you grow, you stick your neck out a little bit more. You open yourself up to exposure to negative criticism as well as positive feedback. It's scary. Sticking your neck out is nerve-wracking. I also recognized that they were not letting go of certain things so that they may make room for growth. They weren't making changes in their schedule and making new habits to bump up to the next level. They knew where they wished they could be, but were afraid to get started. As I was talking with my clients and helping them overcome their nervousness for taking their next steps, I realized that I was feeling the exact same nervousness in my own life. As I was telling my clients that they shouldn't let the start stop them or that they needed to get out of their own way, I was letting the start stop me. I was letting me get in my own way. I was having trouble getting over myself and moving forward. Another thing that I recognized that I was telling clients over and over was not to bite off more than you can chew. What I mean is that they would be so excited to start something new, like a blog, for instance. They'd say something to me like they wanted to blog 3 times a week, and they're running out of the gate just raring to go. That would be great, but could they truly stick to it for a long period of time? Were they biting off more than they could chew? Could their schedule bear the added work? For me, maybe I was biting off more than I could chew with my weekly podcasts. I know consistency is super important. I have every intention of being present each and every week, but my schedule was simply too full. I found myself falling short. I found myself stressing myself out about it. I bit off more than I could chew. What I should have done is made my podcast schedule something more reasonable for my schedule, then add to it. So, for now, you'll be hearing my podcasts twice a month, and the other content will be produced at other times throughout the month. I was coaching my clients at the same time, and I found my own coach so that I could move forward. What's important is to work with the right folks, for example, a coach, and belong to the right groups to help you overcome uncertainty within yourself and move forward to success. You have to say goodbye to certain things and make room for growth. For me, it was important that I pull back and lay low for a bit. I stopped doing my podcasts. I stopped communicating very much, for that matter. I concentrated on client work. It was important for me to really solidify some internal processes so that I can serve our clients better. I began to analyze everything. First, my why for being in business is to be geographically independent, to be able to work and live from virtually anywhere. So why was I a member of a networking group that tied me down to a specific location? Why was I accepting jobs and agreeing to meet with people who only wanted to see me face to face? That doesn't seem to make sense when I want to be geographically independent. I know for certain that I help people, but I cannot help people who cannot become comfortable with video and phone calls. I don't want to downplay the importance of getting to know someone and having face-to-face interactions. That connection is super important. But with today's technology, it gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility and efficiencies. We are able to tap into resources no matter where we are in the world. I realized I was falling into old habits because they were comfortable and they were routine. I was straying away from being geographically independent. When Robert and I were on our workcation in North Carolina a few weeks ago, I realized I needed to make some serious changes in the groups I belonged to and to the meetings that I would schedule. I'll talk to you about that a bit more in a future podcast. But getting back to analyzing everything, I was analyzing all the tasks my team and I do for our clients. And I realized something. I realized that I had two very distinct type of clients. First, the client that had a plan and were ready to delegate tasks, primarily marketing tasks. They had been doing their marketing themselves. They understood the value of content marketing. They have been successful with their content marketing, and now it was time for them to leverage their time. They needed an extra set of hands to be the button pushers, for lack of a better term. They needed help from a team who knew what buttons to push to accomplish the goals they wanted, to accomplish the outcomes they desired. For example, maybe they've been doing their monthly newsletters or blogs themselves. They know how to put all the content together in the right places. But their time was better spent focusing on their message and the people they serve instead of spending time making sure formatting is just right on their email or their website. They knew their time was better spent doing other things than finding that right stock image to go with their blog post. Their time was better spent doing other things than sitting on their social media accounts and scheduling their post for the upcoming week. Sure, they could do it. Individually, those tasks don't take too long, 30 minutes here, an hour there. But collectively, they knew that it took a ton of time. They needed to leverage their time so they may focus on other things. They needed to let go of some routine tasks. They knew what they wanted with the deadlines they've set for themselves, and it was pretty straightforward with what tasks that needed to be done by a virtual assistant company. We simply helped our clients accomplish more. Perfect. Then I have a very different set of clients. Clients who really didn't have a plan. They didn't have any processes in place. They were struggling as to what to do to grow their business. Some were held back in doing some of their own marketing themselves because they felt like they weren't good with computers. They felt challenged by technology. They were turning to me to help them, to basically create a plan for them. Of course, I want to help them, but that's a very different service than what a virtual assistant does. When you delegate to a virtual assistant, your plan is already in place. They help you by making sure the routine tasks you've implemented in your plan happen without you having to worry about the details. So these clients without a plan were turning to me for help, were really seeking consultation or coaching. The consulting and coaching part was something that I couldn't delegate to my team. I realized that many of my clients I was coaching weren't ready to delegate. They weren't clear on their direction. They weren't clear in their message. They wanted me to show them how to use systems like social media and email in their marketing. They wanted to do the repetitive tests themselves because they weren't ready to delegate yet. Doing all these services under Scrivener Solutions just wasn't working for me any longer. I found it tough to know how I could help people most. So while I was laying low in my communications, I realized that I was really running two companies under one name. I was confusing myself and those who followed me. I've worked over the last few weeks to introduce my new website, GaylaScrivener.com. This is my personal brand business where I consult and coach clients to gain clarity and build their marketing plan. I help others build their personal brand. For those who have good processes already in place and want to leverage their time, then the Scrivener Solutions team is at your service, helping you with various tasks like routine social media posting, email campaigns, formatting blog posts, podcast productions, vlog productions, even website development. One of my favorite sayings is that you can't see the label when you're inside the bottle. I'm glad that I can help others grow and find their clarity to give them the confidence to jump to the next level of their business. For me, laying low for the past several weeks and hooking up with someone to coach me to gain clarity was very important. It feels good to have clarity. We cannot grow and expand when we do everything on our own. We all need a guide. We all need that cheerleader. We all need that coach to see things that we cannot see for ourselves and to stretch ourselves to achieve more. So as we enter a new year, I'm sure you've got a list of resolutions. You've got your goals in hand, ready and eager to start. You may have some goals that you feel bad about not achieving last year. I encourage you to pause. Just take some time to stop what you're doing, whether that's a quiet hour all by yourself in your bedroom or taking a nice hot bubble bath, or whether you get away for a day all to yourself, sort of like a retreat from everyone else. Just stop and get out of your normal routine. Reflect on what is working for you and what isn't. Where do you want to be? What makes you happy? What are you discouraged about? And answer that question. What is your why for being in business? Really nail down what your why really is. Then review your goals that you've set for yourself already. Are they in line with your why? Are your goals specific enough to lead you to where you want to be? I did my goal setting and reflecting several weeks ago, and I found it very helpful. I'm renewed and excited about the future instead of overwhelmed and tired. For me, I had to quit some of the communication and marketing of my business to regroup and refocus so I could really help others. I needed to recharge. That's why I stopped doing my podcast and weekly emails. I needed to be clear in my mind of what my message and my direction is. I needed to be clear in my mind how best I can serve you. And that's what I hope for you. I hope that you can stop, reflect, and really evaluate your why to gain clarity and to get you on the right foot for the new year. I hope today's episode helped you with perspective on your business and your direction. It's okay to be lost sometimes. It's okay to stop what you're doing to regroup and refocus. And thanks for being here with me today. And I hope that sharing some of my experiences has helped you in your growth of your business. I truly believe that we all have the capability of earning a great living and creating a lifestyle that we desire. And I have a favor to ask. Check out my new website, GaylaScrivener.com. That's GaylaScrivener.com. You'll see a quick link in the show notes. But hop over to the contact page and send me a comment or question. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know of a time that you have felt stuck and lost your way in building your business. What did you do to find your way? Thanks for listening, and talk with you again soon.